What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another GameTechTalks GTP podcast here with my boy Jojo Narak.
What's
And we're
going
going to
on,
talk
guys?
about, we're having a good time, right? We are ready to talk about some gaming stuff. We actually had a little trouble deciding what all to throw at this show, but I think we're going to concentrate on some Xbox, PlayStation stuff. I want to talk a little bit about the cloud news because we did have a good week for that, and some more about Dark Alliance. Some mixed reviews out there, so I thought we'd just spend a couple minutes on that and some Windows 11 announcements. So a few things to pack in. We'll try to fit it into that hour, even though we have yet to do that. In 3 past episodes, we have yet to make it into the hour. There's always way too much to cover. So
It's
what's
all
going
good.
on,
I
man? How
like
you
it.
been?
Good, man. So much to play, man. With Game Pass, PS Now. It's that those two things alone for me are hard to keep up with.
Yeah, let alone throwing in, Switch, PC stuff, indie
Oh
stuff,
man.
Steam, cloud. It's just it grows and grows, and there's so much. And like you said, even with just Game Pass and PlayStation, there's a lot to keep you busy anyway. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been hopping around on like MLB The Show, Sea of Thieves, Borderlands 3 on PlayStation, through PS Now, because they actually give you the PS5 edition through that.
oh,
Um,
okay,
yeah, that's actually pretty cool. It's the only
that's
game
cool.
so
I thought
far,
they
I
were.
think.
I thought that was still the PS4
I
edition through
think the
PS
only
Now, and
reason
that's
is
cool.
because you get like a free upgrade that's in the store. So
Oh, all
I
right.
tried for Marvel, but like they locked the upgrade.
Man, I tried. Yeah, that's one I did try. It sucked because I really wanted to mess with the PlayStation 5 version of Marvel, and I didn't want to, repurchase for that purpose. But
But there's just so much just between the services right now. It's great.
yeah, yeah, there's a ton to do, man. There really is. It's been a couple weeks since we've been here. I mean, we got hit with E3 and just a ton of stuff that was happening. It was pretty exhausting. We had Father's Day last weekend, which was great, so we kind of took that off. We're talking about taking next week off as well because it is the 4th of July for us here in the States, so we'll probably be celebrating with family, but we'll announce whatever's going on with the stream on Twitter for that. So one of the first things that I want to get into, and this will just be for a minute, so let's jump over here. I'm gonna share this right here. So you've been messing with some Dark Alliance, right? Let me turn that
I've
down.
played a little bit of it, yeah. What I've played of it, I really like. Um, I do get that little bit of Diablo feel from it. Um, I'd say there's a game for PS2 that I used to play a good bit of, Champions of Norath. This is a
Oh
little
man,
bit
yeah.
like that, that I'm liking so far. So it's definitely intrigued me, but like again, there's so much I want to play right now,
There
and
There's a lot, man, and this game is truly getting mixed reviews. About people liking it, not liking it. I was talking about on the other podcast yesterday with CGX that the bar is now so high for games that it's really difficult anymore. Everybody's judging every game based on whatever the top AAA game most recently happens to be. It seems like you said, as far as Diablo, this when we say Diablo, what we really mean is the difficult levels, the difficulty levels you can select in this are
yeah,
very much
yeah,
like
some of
torrent
the UI.
levels. Yeah, and the fact that you're gonna rerun and grind loot, and that's just what the game is about: getting loot, getting your gear, and just having fun running through with friends, destroying these goblins, going through the story. There's a lot of actually dungeons and maps to run through, and it is what it is. It's a dungeon runner. It's with a decent story. It's optimized well. This is some gameplay from my RTX 2060. This I never published this video to YouTube. I wanted to see how the game would do first, so I never put it up. But as you can see here, even on PC, very well optimized. This was maxed out graphics at 1440p.
I think one of the
Everything
biggest
was running great.
problems with these type of games right now, and really anytime you get to a looter in general right now, is it's a saturated market. So you have so many people comparing it to so many different games. You have Borderlands fans comparing it to Borderlands due to the loot. You have Diablo fans comparing it to Diablo because of the difficulties. So
Right.
you've got a wide range of people comparing it to games they love. And, that's where this is getting super well criticized. Whereas if you took that out of the equation, they'd probably be a little less critical on it.
Yeah, it's better to look at the game on its own merits rather than so much of the comparison. And like I said, everywhere I've played this game, it's really well optimized. It looks great. It plays great. There's some jankiness here and there, and it's a Dungeons and Dragons game. They're usually fun and decent, but they're never, I think Neverwinter was the last one I was
Yeah, I
into
was
before it
gonna
went
say, I
pay to
know
win.
it's apples and oranges, but I like
No.
this a lot better than Neverwinter.
Yeah, 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 I do too. I've really been having fun. We haven't gotten a group up yet, but I've been in a couple of groups. I've done solo. It's definitely more fun with people in the party running through this stuff, but it's a lot of fun and it's pretty forgiving. Like you get legendaries pretty easily. It's meant to be a fun grind, not like a monotonous, boring grind. And being on Game Pass as well, which is actually PC, console, and cloud. So, and it's running great everywhere. This game I think helps add value to that service. Just being there day one to play it, and you don't have to buy it, because I probably wouldn't have bought this game off the bat. I would have waited for a sale. So being on Game Pass is awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the Game Pass Day One stuff, they're really putting some great games on there, and this is one of them good games. But you're gonna see games not get as much attention just due to the amount of games that are on the service.
Right.
Speaking of the service, everybody hates to see games go as well, and I know we're gonna eventually get into that and whatnot,
We
but
will. Yeah, we'll
um,
definitely talk about what's leaving Game Pass, because this is actually one of the first months that there's a couple of heavier games, heavier hitters leaving Game Pass. So
yeah.
we'll talk about what that means and if we even really care, to be honest about it, when you really dig into the subscription service thing. But we'll definitely talk about that a little bit. So another cool announcement we've had very recently was um, the Windows 11 announcement for free, I do believe that's going to be
Free
coming up for
upgrade to
us.
those who have Windows 10, I believe.
Right.
They're really focusing on the whole gaming side of it. Um, so I would imagine what you're gonna see is like what they used to have, like Windows Home and Windows like Business, something around along those lines.
Yeah,
Um,
but with gaming, like they're mixing.
you're
How
go-
they had to they tried to really mesh that business home thing, and now it feels like they're really trying to bring the gaming
I think you're gonna
into
see
home version.
the home get replaced with the gaming focus, so to speak, and then you'll see business kind of more so focus on business type stuff. But
Right.
all in all, like I love when they do the free upgrade stuff. I got my Windows 10 for free on my computer. Um, the upgrade's going to be awesome. So, I know I used to be one of those who hated, when a new Windows would come out, because like it's just something else to get used to. But anymore, the technology they put into these things is just it's really cool.
It's getting a lot better with Windows 10. I've had every Windows since Windows 95, 98, 98 second edition because of the blue screens, and so on. XP, they keep going. There's a lot of them, and there's always so many issues every time you changed. Windows
Mm.
10's been one of the it's not without its issues for sure, but it's been one of the best Windows experiences I've had, and it already kind of brought gaming in a little bit. Now they're just looking to do that a lot more. Some of the features I really like coming is the auto HDR. So if you have an HDR display or you're hooking up to your HDR TV, that feature on Xbox is really awesome. I know you probably don't do it a lot, because I do know a lot of your consoles are hooked up to your non HDR PC displays, but it's a really cool feature if you turn that on the Xbox and plug it into an HDR display. So seeing that come to Windows 11 is really cool. Even more exciting, and this is also the answer to the question why there are some videos out there that show the Xbox Series X loading games faster than PS5. It's not always the case, and PS5 does amazing stuff, especially in Spider-Man. But this velocity architecture that they have, the direct storage, where it loads games more directly to the GPU and kind of bypasses the CPU in a lot of the process, it speeds things up
Yeah.
dramatically. It changes the game when they're able to talk more directly with each thing between the RAM, the CPU, and the GPU. This kind of stuff is going to be really exciting to check out, and you're going to want to get an NVMe SSD, man. when this all
Oh,
happens. Just letting you
absolutely,
know.
absolutely. Those loading
'Cause
times, like on the
it's great.
PS5 and the Series S, the loading times are awesome. Obviously for me the PS5 does a little better than the Series S, but all in all, like the upgrade you get when you go from PS4, Xbox One to the next generation there is just amazing.
Yeah, and my PC now was better than it is considered in 2021, but it's still decent. And I have a newer motherboard on there with an NVMe PCI Express 4.0 SSD in there. It's super quick, and even without this technology yet, it very much rivals the Series X with loading. Super super quick. So I'm really excited to see this kind of stuff come to PC. And what this also tells you is Microsoft is so invested in gaming, right? Like they're putting it into so many areas of their business. Like it's Xbox has kind of taken over Microsoft almost, wouldn't you wouldn't you say the way that they are approaching this?
They've really put a lot into their Xbox Studio, so to speak. Microsoft has definitely um, taken a look and seen like some potential there, and they are going in hard, and it's awesome. It's going to make other companies react. And if they don't react, somebody will come in, take their place, and react. Nobody's going to completely fizzle out. It'll be a situation of somebody else taking over, so to speak.
Yeah, gaming being such a huge form of entertainment these days, pretty much dwarfing music or movies if you look at them individually. And even when you combine them, gaming is still bringing in more revenue. So it's no wonder businesses, like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, everybody's trying to really kind of get their hand in the pot there and get some of that money. But I think, as we'll be talking about more in this podcast, if you really look just at the wide landscape of gaming right now, I mean, Xbox is on top of it. I mean, they are going at this from every single angle. While a lot of it is super consumer and gamer friendly, especially by appearance, it's also going to make them a ton of money. The way that
Yeah,
they're
I
going
mean,
about this
I
stuff.
see a lot of people sitting there saying like, "Oh, Xbox wants you to buy their console." No, they don't. Everything they've
Oh yeah,
done has not been at all geared toward buy our hardware. It's, hey, if you're on a PC, most of our home studio games are on both now, Xbox and PC. Hey, if you don't have either of those, you can get the subscription to Game Pass Ultimate, even though, there's a lot of aspects of that you won't be using, but the library of games you're going to have on Xbox game streaming here soon. That's going to be really good. They're really going in hard on a lot of different aspects. They're covering a lot of bases, but in no way are they telling you should go here or go there. They're saying, hey, you should have this and play it wherever.
right.
So, that's just for people to think that, pardon me, for people to think that Xbox is going for hardware sales, that I think they're more so focusing on that subscription-based sale. And that's another thing that Microsoft is seeing is that consistent flow coming in. You don't have to worry about selling X amount of consoles. You have this many subscribers, and that's guaranteed month to month.
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of brings me on to some of the stuff that we were talking about earlier. Because we both play a lot of PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, whatever the case may be. But I know a lot of people are truly focusing in on kind of the state of Xbox and PlayStation right now. Because when you go back in time to 2013 and the TV issues and the DRM issues and the things that the Xbox One rolled out with that just fizzled it flat really quick. And then PlayStation turned around and capitalized and we're like, look, you'll be able to trade in your games. You can get your disc. You can do this. You can play at 1080p, not 900p. It was like on and on and on. And then they all of a sudden looked super consumer friendly, right? Just because of this stuff. Gamer friendly, consumer friendly. They had the less expensive console while giving you more power. Look at things now. It's quite a contrast to where we were not that long ago.
Well, PlayStation had to bounce back from the PS3. That was a train wreck right there, the PS3. And a lot of people will say that the PS3 almost ended PlayStation, even though I don't necessarily agree with that myself. I don't think it
Right.
was necessarily that bad. However, PS3 turned me off of PlayStation personally. I didn't really like my experiences I had with PlayStation. A lot of
Right.
people were saying, "Oh, you can get the online for free." Well, I played that online, and you were getting what you paid for with that because when I went on my Xbox that I paid the $8 or $9 a month for Xbox Live, I got a solid connection. With the exception of a few people who, didn't have good connections on their own end that, you could see. But my experiences were really good. I went on PlayStation and my connection. Now this is early in their days of the online play too, but the connection wasn't there the same way, and I could feel the difference in the games I was playing.
Yeah, play. It was long for a long time. It was well known that Xbox Live just had a better infrastructure for the online play. PlayStation's definitely come leaps and bounds from where it was, but the PlayStation 3 era was a dark era for PlayStation. I had the PS3 at launch. It was a $600 overpriced Blu-ray playing, hard to code for, ridiculous system. And even the controller was a little ridiculous at first what they were trying to do with it, but it just didn't work well. Was it, like you said, was it the catastrophe that the Xbox One almost was for Xbox? I don't think so, because we do know that Microsoft was this close to just pulling the plug on the
Mm.
Xbox arm and saying forget about it. And, between Phil Spencer and who knows who else involved, I know he'll get the credit because he's the face. But as far as I know, he was the integral part of convincing Sadata Ayala. I can almost remember his name perfectly for Microsoft. And they became, partnered up. They made this work, and Microsoft really backed Xbox, saw his vision, and here is where we are now. So the point being, I see a lot of Twitter action, like just
Oh,
people are really back and forth right now about the Game Pass situation and $70 for games here or on PlayStation or whatever, and Game Pass getting a lot of these games day one. MLB The Show was a big one in Game Pass, which is on cloud and console, and for PlayStation you still got to pay $70 for it. I Paying for games is nothing new. That's fine. I don't really have an issue with that. But when you're looking at the value that Microsoft is throwing out there, when you look at what they're doing with cloud space, with console, with PC, the way they're approaching everything, there's so much value there. Even if Sony does still have some exclusives that will be top notch, better than some stuff Xbox comes out with, I don't know that just those exclusives will always continue to carry them in a changing world of gaming. So there's just a lot of discussion. Does PlayStation need to catch up or change things and get a Game Pass type model or something similar? Or will they be fine without it?
so I don't think, as much as I want PlayStation to get that Game Pass model, throw all the exclusives on it and all that good stuff, I don't really think they need to. They've had a lot of success. Of course, the subscription service thing is rapidly catching on, and it's everywhere. So why wouldn't they hop on board with that? I don't know, but that is something to where I think PlayStation is just, they're on a little bit of a high horse. They killed it with the PS4. I love Xbox myself, but the PS4 definitely was the winner of that generation.
It was a bright spot for
Um,
Sony in
Absolutely.
general for all their consoles. The PS4 is rocked. That generation rocked.
Yeah, the games, the exclusive games for it, the console itself, they did really well with that generation, and they're coming into this generation as the top dog, and they're kind of acting like it in certain ways, which we'll probably end up getting into here soon. But I don't think they necessarily need to do what Xbox is doing to succeed. That's one thing they've already proved. They can succeed without, doing what the other guy does, or, obviously one of the big things with the PS4 was not doing what the other guy does, but with or without that, they had a solid system. So, I don't think they necessarily need to. I would love to see it myself, but I don't think that's something that they need to do to succeed. Um, you know, I wish they would give in on a few things here and there, with the crossplay and whatnot.
Yeah, so we'll dive into that. So I talked about this a little bit yesterday. The whole thing. What the guy comment? I was saying that PlayStation needed an answer to Xbox, to their value, to their consumer friendly ways, and that type of thing, and maybe a Game Pass similar model, which I'm going to touch more on here in just a second about what I mean. And then I had mentioned how I believed that too many people want too many cloud services to all be like identical. So I must be able to purchase my games on every cloud service instead of just a subscription, or they must all do 4K, or they must all do 60 or 120 frames. There's a lot of this going around that it's like they must all do. And I just don't believe in that. I think that the variation of different kinds of services is what brings more people in, more choice, a more different thing. People see things differently. If every service mimicked each other, it wouldn't work. And so when it comes to PlayStation, when I say they need that Game Pass model, it doesn't have to be an identical mimic of what Xbox is doing. And I do like PlayStation. I do like the games that are coming. But as we get into now, Borderlands 3 has crossplay. And it feels like we're back when Fortnite and Rocket League tried to have crossplay. And what was the one platform that blocked it, that ticked everybody off? PlayStation. And they didn't learn their lesson, or they did because they got paid extra money to open up the crossplay, as we found out during the Epic lawsuit back in May. We won't dive into that and all the numbers, but Sony got extra money there. It looks like they might be holding out on Borderlands 3 for yet more money. And while I'm okay with them wanting to protect their revenue and their storefront, it does appear very anti-gamer, anti-consumer when you keep doing things like blocking crossplay. The image isn't good.
No, no, not at all. And I know I would say there's what you see on Twitter. I want to say that, the loudness of Twitter is probably a minority of gamers right there. I think you would see most gamers want the crossplay. I think everybody happens to know somebody who has a PlayStation or an Xbox or on Stadia or, on PC. There's such a big mix of people that, crossplay is huge, and I don't understand why we're not seeing more of it. And even further, more than that, I don't understand why we're talking about a system like PlayStation just saying, no, I opt
Yeah.
out.
Dude, they're very hard-headed about their ways, as is Nintendo, and a lot of the that's how they do it over there. But articles, I just popped this up because if you search for it, the articles have been coming out since 2 days ago about, once again, PlayStation blocking the crossplay. And I know people who have PlayStation versions and who have Stadia versions and Xbox, and they all want to be able to play together. And now they all can accept the ones on PlayStation. And it's just like, it's just a deja vu thing. And like I said, they either didn't learn their lesson or they did, right? If they can hold out for more money to open up crossplay, but like, how dirty does that feel? Just to honestly, for me, it makes me a little upset with PlayStation if they are just waiting for more money to allow players to play together. When Xbox is like, we want everybody to play with everybody everywhere, we don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that's not the case. Like maybe there's a little something more going on behind there. I believe PlayStation just updated like their operating system, or they're actively working on updating that, and they're trying to do some things with the PS5 more so than anything right now, and maybe it has something to do with that. Hopefully, um, like I said, I just don't understand why in this day and age that crossplay isn't just something that happens naturally in any multiplayer type game.
Yeah.
I even get
We
upset
even
when I
see
see
Nintendo allow it.
couch co-op. Like,
Couch
why?
co-op. Oh my gosh, dude! When you say couch co-op, it reminds me too, like, back in the day when we would be chilling playing a game like locally, but like you couldn't For like Mech Assault or Midtown Madness or something like that on the OG Xbox, you couldn't like play those modes locally together. You had to be online, like with two
Yeah.
systems. So, or LAN party it up or whatever you're gonna do. So I would always be like, dude, I'm gonna go home so we can hang out,
Yep.
like, and get online and game. And that's how we started gaming all the time. We just started going to our our houses and jumping online.
We're
So
ready for this pandemic, man.
Oh my god, dude, we were ready 20 years ago with the OG Xbox 2001. Oh my gosh. Maker Chaos said, I think Sony will go the Disney Plus route, subscription for most games and $70 for the big budget big hitters.
You know what
I
would be really cool if they did something like that? And then instead of $70 for the big budget hitters, anybody who subscribed to their subscription gets like a day one discount, like at least 25%. Like
right.
something along those lines, I think would be really cool. Just to kind of inspire more people to get their subscription service.
Right. And I'm also curious if Maker Chaos means big budget AAA third party games, or if he's also talking about exclusives, because if I'm going to pay for a subscription, I don't know if I still want to have to pay full price for those exclusives, but I know in Disney Plus, movies will come out in the premium edition, so you got to pay like $30 to get that movie, then you have it on there forever, or if you wait like a month or two, it's just free with the subscription. I could see that. Like, I could see Sony trying to do something like that, where you get like your new, okay, he says exclusives probably, so that makes sense. So like Disney Plus, where you could buy that game on release day and play it right away, or maybe at a discount like you're saying and play it right away. Or if you wait a month or two, it will be part of the exclusives will be part of the business or part of the subscription. I would be okay with that for the most part, but it still wouldn't beat what Game Pass is doing.
Or even just give you like a 10-hour trial, like an EA Origin type deal,
I like those. I like those trials because it's the full game. Your save is there. It's not some rip-off demo version. It's not cut off from the main game. Those trials are literally you streaming or downloading the full game and getting your time with it. And then if you decide to purchase it, you just keep going from where you left off. I would be absolutely okay with that too.
There's a lot of
As long as
routes
it's not
they
a
could
game that
go.
you can beat in 10 hours, you're good. Because EA figured
There's
that one out.
Yeah, there's a lot of routes you can go, and I definitely hope that Sony's got somebody working on improving the PS Now service. Um, there, like I said, there's just so many different options they could pull. There's so many different inspirations out there. They can kind of pick from multiple services and see what they like, what they don't like.
So that's interesting you bring up about PS Now and PS Plus, right? Because those are two separate subscriptions. If you pay full price, those are they 60 a year? No, that's when you get them on sale, right?
No, I think they're full price, 60 a year.
Okay. So there's some, separation there between those two subscriptions. So I think one important thing would be to bring those together. At least bring PS Now and PS Plus together as one service so that there was at least instantly more value. Like as soon as they do that, and the price is what, $15 a month or something like that, if they do that and combine it, that would instantly increase the value of PS Now and PS Plus becoming whatever they want to call it, PS Plus Now.
And one thing I don't think either of us mentioned, and this is one thing that just blows me away with PlayStation, though, they continue to give out the best free games with their PS Plus.
They do.
They have the best monthly games, running for many months now. And I can tell you, like, just from the games you see that Xbox puts up, they're not even really trying to compete with that. And that's where you see the vice versa on PlayStation with PS Now. And, if you load up those two services, even on the home console that they're on, you can tell PlayStation isn't really trying to compete with them. They're doing their own thing. And
Right,
when I say
right.
they're not trying to compete, I don't mean they're doing bad with PS Now because I actually really enjoy the service. You can just tell that, they're kind of like, you guys do what you want, we're going to do our own thing.
Kind of brings up the whole purchase your games in the cloud thing too, because PS Now is this hybrid beast of its own version of Game Pass in the sense that you can download the games or stream a lot of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And then on PC, you can't download any of the games because there's not a PC version, but you can stream them with PS Now. So, say they did do that whole Disney Plus route where, okay, we're going to have exclusives, in there, but down the road, you have to buy it to play it day one. That would still separate out PS Now's PC area to not having those exclusives for months until months after the release. And that doesn't look good against Game Pass either.
Yeah, no, and I apologize, man. Actually, something that Maker of Chaos just said caught my eye here with PS
What's up?
Plus getting Final Fantasy VII Remake recently. I had bought
Oh,
that
yeah.
game shortly after I got my PS5. So I want to say it was like 2 months after I bought it, it went free, and I was still so excited to see it go free because like at that point, you're going to see a lot of, and it was free for PS4 as well. Like it wasn't the
Yeah.
PS5 version, it was the PS4. But one cool thing that made me even happier when I seen that, and they announced the upgrade and all that, because I actually paid for the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I got that upgrade for free. Now, I didn't get the DLC upgrade for free, but I got the PS5 upgrade for the base game for free.
Yeah, so when you
They still
when you
they still have a decent business model is ultimately what that's aiming at, like as far as certain things that they do, within their own ecosystem, so to speak. They try to take care of their people, but that's also part of the problem is they only take care of their people. So,
correct.
which it's business.
But the Final Fantasy remake thing, man, see, I didn't know about that. You told me if it's the purchased one, you get the free upgrade. But if you got the free one from the free game giveaway on PS Plus, it didn't come with
Yeah, then it's like a
the free
$20
upgrade.
upgrade, which is still less than what I paid for the actual game when I bought it half off.
Yeah. It's okay, but it kind of goes in line with there's just been a lot of games on PlayStation, unfortunately, as they cross into the new gen, that you have to buy the next gen version outright or pay the upgrade. I was running into it a lot when the systems first came out, and I was going on Xbox, and it was like, here, it's for
Yeah.
Series X. You don't. Here you go. And I went on PS5, and they're like, oh, you could buy that version for another $60. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, why is it that way? And that kind of stuff still bothers me, but they'll get there with it.
You
They'll
gotta
they'll
you
do
gotta
something with
also
it.
try and look at them as two different entities. You can't necessarily like. As an Xbox fan myself, I will say we're fairly well spoiled with a lot of things Xbox is doing for us.
This
I
is
don't
true.
feel that same amount of spoiling with PlayStation, and I could go into a few different levels. One thing I will mention though, because I love the Microsoft reward system for Xbox Game Pass, is the PlayStation reward system for that is linked with Sony because it's more. I think it's more based around like the Sony credit card, but or it's integrated at least. But like those two systems, like they are so completely different, and the Microsoft system is so much more friendly to somebody who isn't spending money all the time.
Right. So you do a ton of the Xbox Game Pass quest and like certain games you have to go play or achievements or whatever the case may be.
And that's another
So
cool thing is there's games I would never play without doing those quests, and I've actually stumbled onto a few games that I really enjoyed playing that it kind of sent me to just doing that quest.
yeah, so how often would you say you earn free monthly Game Pass through the rewards?
I haven't paid for Game Pass in a few months
A
easily.
few months
Like
easily. Yeah. So if you're
this year,
grinding
I'll
it
say
out,
I haven't paid for Game Pass in 2021 at all.
right.
I've
Okay.
used all points with that, and the majority of those points I've gotten through Game Pass rewards, quests, and the Bing searches is a lot of what I get my points through.
Yeah, it's really not that hard if you're playing some Xbox to really get the points. I don't get them as quickly. I would say I'm paying for Game Pass every other month. So for the most part, I'm earning I think it's 14,000 ish points for the month, for a month of Game Pass Ultimate. So that's the $15 version, and I'd say every other month I get that for me. So I pay about 6 months out of the year, just by doing my typical Game Pass Quest stuff and getting my points. So it's a great reward system that they have for that. And if you really want to go at it, you can pretty much just have Game Pass for free all the time.
Oh yeah, that's what I shoot for. Like I always
You
I do my best to make sure I get those points, and I recently got a 3 month sub, so I'm about halfway through that, and I'm more than halfway to the points to get another 3 month.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. So, if you're going to be the captain of anything, you may as well. I'm just saying.
I
When
feel
he says in
like
a few months,
this is following me around. I almost feel like I know who this is.
oh man, I usually get a $10 gift card every 3 to 4 months for me. Look, if you just crank it out a little bit harder, I'm telling you, you can do even better. But even if
Yeah,
you don't try, you'll get that. Like the $10 every 3 months, 4 months. If you don't even try, if you're just gaming on Xbox, that'll happen anyway.
and I've
Grab a
heard
couple
that like
movies.
PlayStation does it to where if you get um like the platinum trophies, you get rewards points for that, and I've not seen that yet. I've gotten a few platinum trophies, but I do believe it's like certain games and probably even a promotional period of time. Um, so it is night and day for me, just the two rewards systems between the two consoles.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like you said, PlayStation will give you some of the best free games because games with gold, I'm not going to lie, there's rarely ever anything I care about with the games with gold. But the PlayStation games, I'm always excited to get the free games. But when it comes to the reward system, yeah, alone, they definitely have it for Game Pass. So always a lot of cool stuff you can get into questing out this stuff. So,
This is one thing that
um,
I actually eventually want to start making some content on is the Game Pass Quest because I really feel it's super underrated. Like it's like people know about it, but I don't think they know the possibilities of it. Like if you really get into, doing the stuff that you do daily and weekly and whatnot and even monthly, like you can really rack up some points and you're saying, Maker of Chaos is saying I get a gift card every 3 to 4 months. You could get a AAA game every 3 to 4 months
yeah,
just through
no,
doing the
yeah.
rewards quest, like easily.
It is underrated, man. I don't see near enough people jump talking about it. At least maybe they're working on it. Maybe we should start trying to tweet more about the Xbox Game Pass Quest and maybe recommend some of the easier quests to do that have high points and stuff like that. That might be fun. And like you said, some content surrounding that because I don't think people realize what you can truly earn. Like you're saying, if you really jump on this and kind of make it a point and check
Like
out because
I'd say a fairly simple breakdown is like just through the searching, you get 250 points a day just through searching on Bing if you actually do the searches. Between the actual Game Pass quest there, between that and the ones on the Xbox itself, like if you end up mopping those up, the between all the ones they offer monthly, you're easily looking at anywhere from 6 to even 10,000 rewards points there.
yeah.
And between that and the searches, you're at least at, somewhere between 12,000 and 15,000. And the Game Pass Ultimate is like 12,500.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it. Like sometimes they'll even have discounts on like you redeem the points and they'll be 12, might be 14. But it's definitely not hard to earn that stuff. But you see a very similar theme across Xbox with what they're doing. The Game Pass Quest, Game Pass in general, cloud, the consoles, the PC, working on so many devices now, talking about an Xbox stick or something eventually to plug into your TV and just play cloud that way and things like that. The theme is they want you to game as much as you possibly can and spend as little as you can, but yet they still make a ton of money. Does that freaking make sense?
I mean,
Because it's what's happening.
They're gonna make the Oasis eventually. Like you're just gonna see
it's
them come out like, Ready Player One, we did it.
Yep.
Hop
And
on
I
in,
heard
guys.
somebody earlier referred to Game Pass, especially Game Pass Ultimate, as the ultimate marketing tool, not so much meant to make money as it is to sell games. And yeah, absolutely. Every statistic says that people who subscribe to Game Pass buy more games. Not only do they play more games, but they buy more than any other customer as well. And there's just reason for that. You try games you love and you buy them. Which brings us to the leaving of games from subscription services, which we are going to hit on just a little bit. Matter of fact, to do that, let's unless you have something else you want to throw in with the whole state of PlayStation and Xbox discussion, we'll kind of jump on over to some of the cloud stuff. Because there's going to be a lot more
just to
Xbox
wrap it
there.
up, like I got my love for PlayStation, I got my love for Xbox. They're two different things. Yes, I think it's fair to compare the quality of the consoles. However, as companies, let them continue to do their own thing because if one of them just falls in line, at that point the other one knows what the other one's going to do, and it's not good.
No, I agree. I have no problem with it. Like we were saying in the beginning, I don't care if PlayStation ever makes its own Game Pass thing or not. Would we want to see it for the value for ourselves? Yeah, we would love to see something like that with PlayStation games. I would love to be playing every exclusive on PS Now on the PC if I'm able to, and on the go. But also at the same time, it doesn't make it or break it for me. I'm going to be playing PlayStation. I'm going to be playing Xbox. I'm going to play Nintendo. I'm going to play Stadia, GeForce Now, Luna, all of it. I'm going to be in all of it anyways. But it's interesting to see. Dude, I just have to stop naming them because if we really get into it, there's a ton. There's like, people don't even realize there's like dozens of cloud gaming companies out there now. Most of them aren't worth a whole lot, to be honest, but there's a ton of them out there. So, but sticking kind of with the theme of Xbox for just a little bit longer while we get into cloud, let's bring up Xcloud because this is one of the biggest things this week.
Yeah, Xcloud get its blades going, slowly and secretly.
Yeah. So there's no official anything about. Turn on my controller here because we might jump into something here, but there's nothing official, right? Like literally, Microsoft has been quiet as can be, and that's kind of how they do this stuff. They just kind of start messing around. I don't think we're on the full upgraded version of anything just yet. I think what they're doing is replacing the old blades with like Series S blades. And they're also going to be having the Series X, which should handle like the 4K and stuff. But from everything I'm seeing so far, it feels like a lot of Series S style blades. But I'll say the improvements are huge when it comes to like latency and load times and stuff.
Oh,
so
just
they're
that
definitely
upgrade from 1S to Series S is huge.
Even just that, right? Especially if that's going to be their 1080p streamer. You know what I mean? Because if people are streaming 1080p on a device, they don't necessarily need a Series X for most games. And Xbox could definitely control what you're getting based on your device, what game you're loading up, and that type of thing as far as what you need. But when we were talking
even
Go
games
ahead,
that I play on my Series S that don't have the upgrade support, like I can tell you, I'm pretty sure like Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin never got even an FPS boost, I don't think. And that game like runs so much better on my Series S than it did on my 1S. And that was a game that was actually out for the Xbox 360 at one point that they upgraded for the one the Xbox One. So like, just that game alone is a huge thing for me, and like I got to see that a lot because that was actually the game that I ended up streaming this past weekend.
So this is a cool thing with hardware, man. And it's like the same thing with PC. Like you can upgrade your CPU or your GPU or whatever, and then load up the same game that got no updates, nothing, but it's all of a sudden gonna run quicker, smoother. Frame rates are gonna smooth out. You're not gonna have CPU bottlenecks, that type of thing. One of the big improvements, not just on GPUs and loading times and stuff with these consoles, is both Sony and Microsoft finally jumped in on um, 8-core, 16-thread, real decent gaming CPUs. So when you load up those older games, you're really feeling that you're on that SSD, that you have a nice CPU pushing things, and it's a lot nicer experience, even if you're just loading up an older game with no updates. For $299, honestly, I have to look at it when I talk about it for some reason. It's over there. For $299, the Series S is a hell of a deal. Honestly, I love my Series X a ton. I use it for a lot. It's hooked up to the 4K TV. It has some 120 FPS games that the Series S doesn't. But it's an amazing little console for $299. And being someone who builds PCs and tests this stuff all the time, I have a lot of respect for a console that can do what it can do for $300. It's pretty nuts. Keeping in mind that the Switch was $299.
I see a lot of those 120 FPS games that aren't 120 on the Series S, and I believe that means they're 60 on the Series S.
Normally it's 60, and for the most part, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, I when I first started getting into PC gaming, like I had my FPS counter up all the time. I don't really have it up anymore unless like something's going wonky.
Addicted.
And I noticed that I actually turned it off. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay.
Horizon Zero Dawn was a game that made me turn it off because it was getting such low FPS, but it was playing so smooth. And like I really couldn't tell too much that it was, giving me low frames.
Right.
So
and
I ended up turning it off. It was kind of messing with me. So
yeah, sometimes you don't want to see it, and that's pretty cool you bring that up. That's basically a different kind of bottleneck. So when you're getting a low frame rate, but the gameplay still just feels smooth, like it's not stuttering, it's not janky. Yes, it's low frames, but you're just still, without a problem with latency or stutters or anything. You're more maxing out the GPU side, and your CPU is humming along just fine. Normally, when you max out a GPU, you can stay smooth if your CPU has no problem. So that's normally what will happen with that. Now, if your CPU bottlenecks on you, forget about it. You're looking at frame times like a heartbeat, and you're going to be all over the place. So you definitely want to be on top of that. Let's see. Maker of Chaos is just on top of the chat. Like he's got all kinds of cool stuff to say. I really appreciate it too. The PS5 bundle really hurt my wallet. You know it. Jojo Narok actually knows more about the bundle because I got it without the bundle. You had to pay that bundle price.
I got my PS5 like 6 days before Christmas. So
that's a tough grab.
Yeah, and I actually missed one the day before I got mine because my bank thought it was a suspicious purchase and declined it. And man, I was so upset. But I never yelled at the customer service guy. Like the customer service guy was waiting for it. Like he was waiting for it. He apologized profusely. But I ended up going online and getting mine the next day, which was kind of cool because it came quicker. But it was a bundle with like the HD camera, the extra controller, a year of PS Plus and a year of PS Now, which really the PS Plus was cool. The PS Now I already had. The extra controller, it's still in the box. The HD camera, I ended up getting some money for that. But it was a bundle that for the digital edition that I ended up spending $750 for myself. So I get that, because the website bundled it, so I get that more than
Yeah.
See, look at that. I would have loved to had Demon Souls, Miles Morales, extra controller,
and a camera. That's what I bought anyway. Literally, like, except for the camera, that's what I want to buy in anyway. But bundles just annoy me, man. Just because when something's really hard to get, it's obvious that they're just it's a straight upsell without asking you.
They're just raking it.
It just bothers me, man. And most people don't know I did wind up selling my PS5 to do some stuff, and now I'm grabbing another one. But I refuse to go for a $750, $800 bundle. All right, it's just I'm I've had 2 digital editions in my cart and then had them disappear in the past 3 days. I'm close. I can smell it. It might even happen this week. And I don't
Just
even need it right now. It's just one of those things. I'm gonna grab it up again because it's GTP. It's Game Tech Planet.
Demon
You gotta
Souls was
have
a
it.
masterpiece. Like if you haven't played that game, like give it a shot.
It's gorgeous. So dude, so man, we got off onto that. What I want, that was good stuff. I want to talk about this leaving soon because this again is something that brings up a lot of conversation with subscription services. I'll just say for me personally, I don't ever fault any subscription service when content leaves. That's part of the deal. You know that's part of the deal when you sign up. They offer you can buy these games at a discount, but the only issue right now is we're looking at Xcloud right now or Xbox Cloud Gaming Beta. If I purchase these games, they're only playable on my console or if there's a PC version there as well. But Cloud right now doesn't support your purchases. It will eventually, and they have said that's where they're headed, but right now it doesn't. So if these leave, you buy them, you can't play them in the cloud at all anymore. You can play them on your console or PC. Like I get it. I have zero problem. So, but I get where people have issue. So what do you think?
Um, I mean, the game's leaving the service. That like I said, that sucks because like three of those games specifically, like I really like,
These
Monster
are
Hunter
bigger
World,
hitters.
Marvel vs. Capcom 3, or not 3, Infinite,
Infinite, yeah.
Soul Calibur 6.
Yes, it's not listed on here because this is xCloud, but Soul Calibur 6 is leaving for console
So
as well on
like
June 30th with these,
I
yes.
own Monster Hunter World,
What else?
and that's gonna suck. I wish I would have played that more while it was free to more people, or part of the service more available to more people, I'll say.
Right.
Um, you know, um, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I played the story through on that. Like I got what I wanted out of that, so I'm not disappointed really at all. However, that's a really good fighter. Sad to see that leave the service. Soul Calibur actually kind of threw me for a loop because I always had that in the back of my mind. I own the disc, but I have the Series S, so
Oh
that
yeah,
being on the
that's right.
service was really nice for me, and now it's not on the service, so I'm back to not being able to
Gotcha.
play that.
Yeah, no, and I get it, and it's always like a bummer, right? Well, I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat like things leave, right? I've seen things leave on Netflix that bum me out, or on other streaming services for TV or movies. I've got games I bought on the Xbox 360 when digital just started. Like most people didn't even purchase digital yet. The Xbox 360 had the Xbox Arcade. I loved it. You could buy a lot of digital games in there, but those games don't exist anymore. They're not supported on the like you can't go get those purchases you made anymore anyways. Um, so it's always a bummer, but it's what's going to happen with subscription services. And if you love the game and you're enjoying the game and you want to support the platform and the developers, buy it at a discount. I believe it's 10% off when you have Game Pass for any game that's in Game Pass. And it's why a lot of people that have Game Pass buy games from there. So I just, when it's a subscription service, you know what you're getting. I don't have any gripes about it. But when I saw Outer Wilds, Monster Hunter Worlds, and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, I knew I was like, oh man, there's going to be some people that are upset because these are like three pretty popular heavy hitting games
And
leaving.
Monster Hunter and Marvel vs. Capcom are, yeah, they're both Capcom games.
Yeah, it's interesting, right?
And I believe Monster Hunter World's still on PS Now.
It
So,
is. Yeah, it is. I don't
I'll
know
be
when it
interested
might
to
leave.
see if that will leave over there, and if it doesn't, what did possibly Sony strike a deal with Capcom, for some sort of exclusive right?
That would be interesting. They've certainly started trying to grab back some timed exclusivity for Final Fantasy, right? So it wouldn't be surprising if they're trying to grab some other stuff. There's
Yeah.
also just this weird thing, not just with console and PC, where it's something we were discussing on the CGX podcast yesterday about just like some companies seem comfortable with their games in the cloud in general, and some companies just don't. Like whether it's GFN or Stadia or xCloud or whatever, they're just not comfortable with it, whether it be the performance or maybe the business model. Who knows? But some companies are more for it than others. EA's all in, Ubisoft is all in, but there are companies like Capcom and others that are seem to be kind of bucking the trend a little bit, not quite jumping into cloud.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely see it. There's not really much of, Capcom on cloud services. You got Resident Evil with that Stadia and Luna, Resident Evil 8.
Um, Luna has Biohazard. They don't
Okay,
have Village, the newer one. But to be fair, Stadia did put out about $10 million to them to get that port. It's a beautiful
so
port, but they put the cash out.
but yeah, I mean, you've got some Capcom games in certain places, but yeah, you don't see them going everywhere. Resident Evil 8 didn't really it hit those who wanted it to hit that bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, so I mean, it could be something where they don't want to risk the performance of their game on a platform they're not sure about. And there's apparently a lot of devs who still don't really know a whole lot about GeForce now. Obviously, Luna's pretty new. You know, I think I think that you'll see more games start coming to Stadia with a little more stability there. With
right.
that 2022 release coming up, that alone shows stability in my opinion. So I think you'll see more come to that, as long as they can produce at least some sort of sales, and it's not too hard to port.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. And you're right. And that's been my big thing. I just think it's confidence in the performance, and they're not sure about it yet. The business models, cloud is still super new. Even though there's a growing interest, I think companies like Xbox doing what they're doing with Xcloud is going to bring a lot more attention to it, which is going to help all the cloud services from Stadia to GeForce Now and so on. Why is this doing this to me? Don't do it to me. Here we go. Share without audio. So let me see. Will this work? This won't work if I do it this way. All right. So we're going to jump over here to Ori real quick. So no 4K 120, right? But what we had pop up was 1080p 120.
And it used to be 720 only, right?
Yeah, they had a 1080 60 I was playing before these upgrades apparently showed up.
Gotcha.
And then when I jumped into here, and now there's other games as well that are definitely benefiting from this. But there's only two. I think there's only two 120 games right now, being
But
Ori and Rainbow Siege, Rainbow Six Siege.
But I mean, like seeing that progress is really cool. You have Shredders, which is coming out in December on cloud, and it's only going to be Series S and Series X. So they had to make moves for that game to hit cloud day one, and I don't think they want to necessarily start missing dates on their releases.
Right. No, I don't think so. And Xcloud's coming natively to the PC app for Xbox, which is really cool. They're also
Yes.
bringing the Xbox streaming that you can do on like your iPhone or iPad or whatever. They're going to bring that back to the PC app, so you'll be able to stream your new consoles again, which was a nice feature. I know we used to use that for streaming a little bit. It wasn't too bad. A lot of stuff like that. I'll tell you what, I want the PC integration, or the PC app integration, because I can't share a tab and play, because if I leave that tab, it stops the gameplay till I go back to the tab. But if I had the app on the PC, I could share the app and I would be able to keep going. So that's where StreamYard has a little bit of downfall compared to Streamlabs right there. So, but it was still wanted to show you that. And if you're on XCloud, you can tell instantly if you're loading up on a newer blade or whatever's going on there, because you're gonna load in 10 to 15 seconds normally from this screen, versus it used to be like 45 seconds to a minute sometimes, depending. And then game load times, you'll see your SSD, like you're going to see the difference. If it's taken forever to load, you're still on the hard disk drive. So really, really cool stuff going on with xCloud. So I'm going to be watching that. But again, Microsoft hasn't said anything, so we're going to have to see
And
what they come
honestly,
up
just
with.
to just to broad it over the week of cloud, like it has been a truly awesome week for cloud gaming. I don't cloud game myself, but I do follow it. And just looking at the things that were happening this week across all the services, honestly, just it was a really great week for cloud gaming, just in general. So just great job to all the services. You had Stadia with their announced games they were coming out. What was it? The Olympics game.
Yeah,
And
man.
Madden's going to be coming to Stadia. The sale that they had going on this week for some nice looking games, that was really awesome. You had Luna where they had some really good games hit their service. You had GFN with some good games and some nice upgrades. So it really it went well.
You just did all of the cloud, and I
Sorry,
couldn't say
man.
it better,
Like,
dude. No,
sorry. It was
it's
a really good week for
you
cloud.
know what's
Like, I
cool is it's exciting because, like you said, you're not as heavily into the cloud as I get to here with all the testing and stuff. You do mess with it, but the fact that it's become interesting enough that you're sitting here quoting off all the cloud news that I would normally be be quoting off, that's really cool because it means more people and more gamers are just kind of starting to look at it. It doesn't mean that's your way of gaming, but it's like, oh, what is this? You know,
Well,
like what's going on?
I like to use GeForce Now for when I stream
Yeah,
PC games because my PC can't handle streaming, playing the game, streaming the game, running Streamlabs, just doing everything all at once. My PC starts stuttering on my stream a little bit. Not in game, I can't notice
right.
it, but my stream can, and that bothers
Yeah.
me. So, I'll sit there and I'll take and, throw the game up on GeForce Now. And then I have no issues whatsoever. And like just that along with like the iPhone app for Streamlabs, like I can do everything I need to while playing the game with my phone, monitoring my
Yeah.
stream. Like it's not a big deal.
I was looking for my app. I'm glad you said that. I wonder if I have it still on here. Since I got my new phone, I don't know if I do yet. If anybody out there uses Streamlabs, and you haven't tried like the iPhone app or Android app, whatever the case it may be that you have, it's like a Stream Deck on your phone. So we're able to use that to start streaming, end streamings, transitions, go to different scenes, control all your volumes, your audios. You can do all of it from your phone with the Streamlabs app. So anybody that uses Streamlabs, and if you don't have a Stream Deck or you don't want a dedicated little console right there, it's freaking awesome. Me and Jojo and I have been using that for a little while now. So since you went through everything, we're gonna we'll quickly go through. So anybody that watches this or is watching, and I appreciate anyone who has been jumping in here. We've been trying to keep up with chat. It's mostly been Maker of Chaos.
Thank
We
you,
had some
man.
Nemesis Gaming. Yeah, I really appreciate the interaction. I appreciate everyone else that's been watching and jumping in. And we're going to just kind of rapid fire through some of the cloud news that we've had so that we can get through this. So Luna, Dirt 5 is coming, Saints Row the Third Remastered is coming, and Valkyria Chronicles 4 is coming. Fairly newer games for the most part. And though we don't have multiplayer yet for Luna for these games, Dirt 5 will be missing that. Sonic still misses that. We're in beta. It's only in the US. I'm not going to get into that conversation again today. We did that yesterday. I'm
They do
fine
need
with
to get on
multiplayer.
that though.
They
They
need it to
definitely
come,
do.
but I'm okay with it right now because we are US only. We are early access, and even if they had multiplayer, you probably wouldn't get a lobby. You probably wouldn't have enough people anyways, and it would tick people off. So right now, I'm perfectly okay with this situation. And to be honest with you, Dirt 5, I've played through it fully on PC and on Xbox and still haven't gone online. I just loved playing the arcade, the story, and unlocking everything anyway. So there's going to be a ton to do on Luna with that. Saints Row the Third is a blast, and Valkyrie Chronicles coming in is great. Look, $5.99 a month right now for early access. And again, really good games coming for the month of July. Great value. Even without the online, Dirt 5 is a hell of a grab for a subscription service that's $6 a month right now.
Yeah, no, I mean that's one thing I want to get into. I actually the thing that makes me want to try Luna the most is that controller I always see.
Love it.
That controller looks really cool, and I would love to, do they have Fire Stick support yet or no?
Yeah, man. I've got the Fire Stick 4K in the
So
TV now and the Luna controller.
I
And
want to
dude, I'll
check that
tell
out for
you,
that.
the controller is so cool. Like the Stadia controller's Wi-Fi connection is great for latency, but the Stadia controller's got nothing on the Luna controller, both in design, in my opinion, and in just its connection. With the Luna controller turned on, I can go from my TV on the Fire Stick to my iPad to my laptop to my PC to my phone. Doesn't matter. Never turn the controller off. It automatically switches over to each device without you even thinking about it. It just knows, and it's really, really cool. That controller makes the Luna service, in my opinion. It makes it so easy to use. I'm really enjoying it. I think Luna has a long ways to go, of course, but dang, they're looking really good, honestly. GFN. Let's jump into a little GFN love here.
I want to try that Abyss. What is that?
Phantom Abyss.
Phantom Abyss.
So here we go. So they had a great week. Dual Universe is a game that I don't know much about. I'll give another shout out. CGX put up a video. Dual Universe on GFN. I ain't gonna make a video for it. I don't have time. I have other things going on. So if you want to see that on GFN, definitely go check out their video. Phantom Abyss and Builder's Journey, though. Lego Builder's Journey. I've played both of those. I played through Lego Builder's Journey. It's a short game, but it's $20. It's addictive. It's a ton of fun. I'm sure there'll be DLC. And Phantom Abyss is one of my new addictions. And I've only played it through GeForce Now. I've had no need to download it. I haven't messed around with that at all. And I'm loving it, man. Really, really loving it. And I don't even like roguelike games, like where you die and you're not going back in again. I don't normally do it. But
The thing
really
that I
it.
like about it is it looks like Indiana Jones to me. Like it.
The whip, whoosh, whoosh.
Yeah, the whip.
Temple of Doom vibes, man. And you're running through the temple. You got spikes and stuff trying to get you. And I've only got one relic so far. And I know I don't know how many Hell Monkey's up to. I know he had 2 last time I talked to him. It is tough. And the cool thing is these temples and caverns and stuff are procedurally generated. It gets made one time. And if you die in there, your ghost sprite stays in there, does that run. It's kind of like Forza Horizon ghosts that drive around. Yeah. And only one person will ever grab that relic. Once somebody gets that relic, that's it. That's closed off. And they're always procedurally generating the next one, the next one, the next one. And when you start, it tells you how many people have died there when you go in. And once you die in one, you never get to go back in the same one. That's it. You get one shot to get that relic. And it's just so cool to try. Normally, I would get really frustrated at a game like that because I'm dying and I'm not getting to the relic and stuff, but I don't care. It really doesn't frustrate me. I feel like it's pretty chill, and I can run around with that whip trying to avoid shit all day long and trying to get to the relic. It's really cool game.
That's actually a similar map mechanic to a game I play called Dead Cells. Every time you die, the map changes. It's never the same map. There's similar features in the map, each time,
Right.
but ultimately the path in which you take is going to change every time. And I kind of, at first in that game, it bothered me because that game's a little tough to start out in, but once you get used to the game, once you get used to the mechanics of the game, like it becomes a really cool and, it keeps things fresh for you.
Yeah, and it does. It does keep it fresh. It keeps it fun. And Maker of Chaos, do I know? See, he played some Phantom Abyss for Cloudy with Games. Well, Cloudy with Games is Duncan, One to Escape, so therefore I should know who you are, Maker of Chaos.
I've seen him
But
in a
your
good
name...
bit of the chats I hop
Have
into
you?
when I go on some YouTube streams and whatnot.
I have a feeling you have another name that I know you by. Kena Bridge of Spirits. The hype on this game got like up to here because this was at the PlayStation State of Play event a few months ago. They showed the trailer for this game, and instantly people thought it was going to be a PlayStation exclusive because it was at that like the PlayStation State of Play, and it looked really good. And then we found out it was coming to PC through the Epic Game Store, and I was like, yes, I could buy it on PC and play it there. And then we got the GFN announcement that August 24th on launch day, it's also coming to the cloud through GFN. This is a great announcement and a great grab for GFN, a game that has this much hype coming to consoles, coming to PlayStation, and now coming over to cloud via GFN, which I think will be the only place you can play it in the cloud.
I mean, the game looks great. I will say that. I did watch a little bit on it, The game looks really awesome. Not necessarily something I'll be looking at getting, like I'm more interested in Phantom Abyss, but that's also a really good thing for GeForce Now, having a game like that be sort of exclusive as far as cloud goes for them. Um, the the other thing with GFN, didn't they have a game or two leave this week?
They had one. It was a game called One Shot. I had mentioned it in my GFN news. I said sorry to anybody who plays it, but it looks like a not so good game. It is not a big loss for them.
Okay.
They are dropping it for the right reason. It's like not allowing you to progress in the game properly or save properly or whatever. So it's
Okay,
best
so
that they
they're
dump it. But
it's actually GeForce Now saying
GeForce
this
Now is
game is no
saying we
longer
can't.
okay. It's not the
Yes, yeah.
publisher doing it.
It's not somebody else pulling the game. It's a legit drop because just it's not working the way that it should, and it's really a fairly small loss for them. But yeah, Kina is a good one, and Maker Chaos, the game is designed by movie TV animators who shifted to gaming, so I'm excited for it. I had heard this also, and that's why the animation looks so freaking good in this game. So again, I'm really excited to try it out as well. What's great about having a YouTube channel is I don't have a choice. Like, I almost have to buy and test and play almost as many games as I can in as many places as I can. So it's a great excuse to have the channel and have to buy and play so many different games. But to be honest, even before this, we bought and played almost every freaking game anyway. But this cloud stuff is exciting, man. And another thing for we mention all the time, and what you mention all the time is cloud helps streamers a lot too. I see a lot of streamers jumping on Luna for stuff. That's getting them into like, wait a minute, what's GFN? What's Stadia? What's this? And they're finding out that like it's so much easier to stream cloud. Like your computer's just chilling. It's not getting hot. You're not having to worry about frame drops near as much, if ever. All kinds of cool stuff that cloud has to offer besides just gaming everywhere.
And I've seen some cloud gaming fans will say that are a little concerned about like xCloud. And the thing is, like, xCloud is no threat at all to the gaming service you're with, if in the cloud, because that's only going to amp up the competition. And
Right.
anytime companies get competitive, the consumer wins. That just it always works that way. It might take them a little bit to get to that point where the consumer's winning consistently, but you're going to see it.
Yeah, yeah, man. And some statements I see that confuse me sometimes. I think one yesterday was, as long as Xbox makes consoles, they'll never succeed in cloud. And first of all, that doesn't make any sense to begin with. Their console production doesn't have anything to do with what they're doing in the cloud. The Xbox literally just wants you to game. Just game. That's all they want you to do, and that's what brings in the money. So that's always weird to me. And then, like you said, saying that like, for Stadia to succeed, Xbox must fail or this or that. No, if Xbox and PlayStation, if these big players start playing with cloud because they see the money there, they see the potential, the player bases from them are going to see cloud, and then they're going to go like Google search cloud gaming. They're going to go look at other services. They're going to be like, oh wow, what is?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's going
what's
to be an
Stadia? What's GeForce
introduction
Now?
to cloud for a lot of people because you have a mainstream artist, so to speak, getting into this new genre now, and it's going to open people up to that genre.
Right.
There's still a lot of people I game with, that if I mention Stadia, there's going to be a handful of them that say, "What's that?" You
Right.
know, more commonly what I get is, "Oh, is that still a thing?" And not because of like them shutting down the first party studios. No, they're saying it's still a thing because they just haven't seen advertisements for it. And they
Right.
watch YouTube all the time, so that's one thing I will always say about Stadia is they have a really poor marketing department as far as getting the news out to, new consumers. But as far as the tech goes, and I've tried it, they really do have really good tech, and there's a lot of possibility with those guys. They just need to get the right backing.
Right. And you gave me a lot of juice in that. You said a lot of good stuff. It goes along with this statement too from Maker of Chaos again here. Sony and Xbox fighting has gotten me plenty of great games.
Me too.
Competition, yes, competition is what brings all of this. And that statement doesn't just go for getting great games. That statement's also going to go for getting great cloud services or getting great console experiences or getting a great GPU or CPU. It doesn't matter when it comes to anything in life, but gaming, as we're talking about, competition is what drives the next innovation. nobody knows who's going to be on top of cloud gaming in general in the future. One of the best articles I've seen lately was from The Verge talking about how cloud gaming needs to disappear from our lives to be successful, because if it keeps getting harped on and compared to local hardware or all these different things, it's always going to get this bad taste or have this issue, as to where cloud really does have a lot of positive areas that it's really good at. So I kind of got what that article was saying. It was really cool. Competition is the thing, and if Xbox does as good as they should, these upgrades are looking great. They said in a few weeks they're going to open up Xcloud or Xbox Cloud Gaming to everyone on Game Pass Ultimate. So soon you'll be able to get in finally, because I need you trying this out as well, so we can talk about it. And a lot more people are going to get access to it. Those amount of eyes, just like if Luna were to flip the switch and say, here, Prime members, there's 143 million of you. Some of you try, even if only a percentage, some of you try it. Eyes got on cloud, which means they look at everything. And I think Stadia has, it sounds funny, but I think Stadia has more potential to grow because of what other companies do more than what they're doing right now, because just the amount of eyes that could come to cloud. Gamer TV is someone great to follow on Twitter. He's on the CGX podcast sometimes. He's a great guy. He knows a ton of stuff, and his thing with all of this, with Stadia and all these different companies coming, is tech is easy to catch up on. It's the content that's not. So Xbox has been gaining the content for the past few years before working on the tech of cloud. So therefore, even with upgrades, their tech may still be a little behind Stadia's actual streaming tech, but the content and the way the games render and things like that are gonna supersede. So it's gonna be interesting.
And I mean, honestly, like I can even think of a way for Stadia to combat that automatically is, they take and, roll into something with YouTube. I have heard people say YouTube gaming for a while, make it integrated with that a little bit and get more people on the platform. And once you do that, the games will come. The games
Right.
will come if you get the people. So that's the biggest thing right there. And I think they just need to make the right move with the service.
Yeah.
Um,
Google's a
just
tech company, man, and they went tech first and then started going for the gaming content. And I think what happened was they were a little bit more confident in those games coming than they should have been, because it's very difficult, whether it be cloud or locally, to launch a new console, right? I mean, think about it. Whether you're in the cloud or whether you're launching a local piece of hardware, you're launching a new console in a world where Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo have dominated for the past 20 years, 30 years or more. So it's really tough. So they got the tech there right away, ready to go. I can't fault that. But the library and the choice and some of the features that were promised and so on, and like you said, marketing strategy, there's a lot of things that really hurt them. But my thing is now, are they now re-gearing and coming out saying, okay, now we know what we need to do, or are they not?
And I mean,
I
some of
still
the things I'm seeing, actually, it's some good things for Stadia. Like, let's say somebody gets on the Xbox Cloud Gaming, and they start trying that out, but they want to play Resident Evil 8. They have it on Xbox, but they don't have their purchases enabled yet. And the only way you can play Resident Evil 8 on the cloud right now is through Stadia. They Google that, they find Stadia, boom. Right then and there, you
right.
have somebody who's going to go buy Village on Stadia. They're going to play it, and then they're going to be turned on to it. They're going to see what else they can play, because that's actually, from what I understand, Village on Stadia is actually a really good experience.
It's a
So
good port. It's a good port. I would say they got their money's worth out of that $10 million, but it is a good port. But the problem is they can't pay that kind of money to keep getting games like that. It's too expensive. So Stadia is in this weird spot where they have great tech, but they still need to shell out a lot of money to get the games, because devs don't feel like they're going to sell very many copies or get that many people to play yet, because the player base is still fairly small, just in consideration of the large gaming community. Stadia itself
absolutely.
is getting some steady growth, and I've seen some changes here or there, or more players in Destiny or this or that, but it's still just, in the large scheme of things, really, really small.
And Village just by itself isn't going to be enough to pull people to Stadia, away from their
Right.
console or, their PC.
And nor
However,
was Cyberpunk.
once you get to a point where people are looking to play cloud gaming because they've tried it, they like what they see, that's when that payoff you're going to start seeing a little more because they're going to start dipping their toe in and seeing what cloud gaming is like. Maybe they like, gaming on the phone is very popular nowadays, and if they start seeing they can start gaming on their phone, with their actual AAA console, they can only play at home games, they're actually going to start looking into more options for that. And like I said, you get somebody on even PS Now or Xcloud that dips their toe into the cloud service, and then they're a big Resident Evil fan and they want to start playing Resident Evil. They're going to look into it. They're going to stumble on Stadia, and there's going to be, you know, a good amount of people, in the 10,000s at least, that will go through that direct route that I just described, you know.
Right. I was trying to bring it up, man, when you mentioned about playing on the phone, and this is a feature that I hope Stadia will work on for people. Xbox Cloud Gaming right now is really the only cloud gaming out there offering specifically tailored touch controls per game in the cloud. And they just added Dirt 5 and like 6 other games this week. I was going to bring them up, but they don't show up when you're on PC. They only show up here on when you're on like a device that can do touch, like an iPad or an iPhone or whatever. But River City Girls. Yakuza Like a Dragon is another one that just got touched this week. That and Dirt 5 and a couple other ones. And it's great. Like these are featured, like these are tailored to those games. And it's a great feature. And I've seen a lot of people saying they really hope that Stadia will bring that kind of thing. Because even though a lot of the controllers are cool, I don't know about you, but I get tired of like the clip on to the remote. It feels heavy, like clip it onto an Xbox or something like that. It works, but I don't love it. The clip-on like keyshis and stuff are okay, but you got to take your case off to put it on, and I'm too freaking lazy. I'm not going to do that every time, so I need touch controls.
Like I'll game on my iPad, but I'm not very big on gaming on my phone. It's just not for me. Like my eyes don't like it, honestly. I need a little bigger screen, and the iPad's about the minimal I can go. And
I
when
agree.
I'm
I agree,
on
man.
those devices, to mention what Roy here said, I'm sorry, man, I'm not going to try the first name.
Savik. I'll try it.
Savik.
Savik.
To what you're saying there, on my iPad, on my iPhone, I'm not really going to care too much about the true 4K, as I would say on, if I was playing on a TV. And honestly, I'm personally the type of gamer, I have everything I have is 1080 except for my TV, and my TV is the one thing I don't have my consoles hooked up to. So honestly, as long as the game runs well and it looks good, I'm cool with it, and you're
Right.
going to see a lot, I would say the majority of people playing those games like that in that situation are going to feel the same way. They're not going to scrutinize between the true 4K and the upscaled 4K or the native 4K. What's it called?
Yeah. You're hitting on a lot of good points there, and Roy brings up the 4K thing. I talk about this a ton with different people. 4K is a buzzword. 4K is marketing more than anything else. I game so many different resolutions. I have a ton of 1440p monitors, 4K TVs, my displays, my iPad Pro, 120 frames per second. I've actually been able to play Xcloud at 120 on the iPad, and stuff like that. Frames are going to be the new kind of resolution. 60 FPS to 120 FPS. I've seen plenty of people talking about Rock is another one. He's a huge Stadia player, right? Rock is a big creator for Stadia and other platforms. He plays a lot, but he plays a lot of Stadia. And he had even said playing at 4K 60, and then he jumped to 1080p 120 frames per second, and he was like, I'm not going back to the 4K 60. The 1080p 120 was too good. It felt too good. The experience was better. 4K is a little overblown. And we have such good upscaling abilities these days with software, with TVs, with monitors, with a bunch of other things. 4K just kind of starts to become this buzzword a little bit. Can Stadia do some games at 4K native? It can. There are some games that hit 4K now. They don't stay there, though. They're dynamic, just like on some other consoles. The Series X, there's going to be games that it can hit true 4K 60 or true 4K 120, but there's going to be a ton more games than that are actually going to be a 4K upscaled 120 or a 4K upscaled dynamic resolution 60. But the more important thing is going to be the steady frames per second. And in the cloud, you need a clean stream, and you need as many frames per second as possible to help with latency and smoothness of the game. And then you want to worry about resolution. So I'm not super worried about 4K, and I've never been worried about Stadia being true 4K. As long as the experience is consistent, as long as they're hitting 60 FPS or higher. My issue with them is there's too many 4K 30s. Or like Valhalla runs at 30 FPS and is unplayable for me, when I know darn well Stadia would be capable of having the toggle like the consoles have going to performance and give me 60 FPS. So what Stadia is capable of versus what the developers will give you are two different things. Like I said, the player base being small and the potential to earn revenue from your game being small means if Stadia doesn't pay out a ton of money to that developer, he's not necessarily going to tap into all the power that's there. So it's really going to be up to Stadia to step that up, quality control, what kind of experience they want people to have, and that type of thing. But even without Gen 2, even without going farther, Stadia is certainly capable most of the time of doing more than it actually does.
I mean,
Cyberpunk...
You'd think Stadia would be able to get some of these games with like some advertising deals. Like they got Google, they got YouTube. Like, hey guys, bring your stuff on Stadia. We'll give you some free advertisement on Google and YouTube. Done.
Dude, there's so many things. Honestly, there's so many things that they can do. I don't know what they will do, but there's a ton that they can do. If Stadia had the content, they would be hands down the best cloud gaming out there. But because for me, their lack of content and stuff they have, and I don't really love the business model, it's just is what it is right now. But Stadia's got some work to do. We'll see what they can do. But again, if you're a developer, I just don't see you putting in the additional time unless the money's definitely there. And what I keep wanting to mention about Cyberpunk is that was like this watershed moment for cloud, because people started trying to play that on the PS4 and like they had to pull it from the store. It was a really horrible experience. Even on the One X, I had times doing testing, I got down to like 15 frames per second. It was a little bit nutty. On the Series X, I didn't have too much trouble. On PC, I didn't have much trouble. But if you go look at the sales numbers for Cyberpunk on Stadia, if you work out a little bit of math on that, the most they could have possibly sold is like 100,000 copies, and most likely people were guessing between 60,000 and 80,000 copies. That's when you sell 13 million copies of something at launch, that's a very, very small number. The fact that they got that game so optimized for Stadia the way they did is surprising. And I know Stadia paid, again, money for that. So I noticed the games that Stadia pays millions of dollars for are running pretty darn good, like Resident Evil and Cyberpunk and stuff, even though they can have their issues. And then games where it feels like the devs are more left to their own devices to bring the games over, they are not running so good. And Outriders, we ain't even going to get into it. It is still a horrible mess on Stadia. Now, if it's running good for you or you're enjoying it, that's awesome. But I've played Outriders everywhere you can possibly play it. And Stadia, I'm sorry, is the absolute worst place to play Outriders.
And that's strictly the devs right there. The devs have not done well for Outriders on Stadia.
Absolutely, man. So, okay, look, there's two sides to that. Like, Stadia needed the quality control off the bat. They should have tested that game before launch and been like, what the hell is this? It's not even the same version as the console. Just delay it a month or two. Just freaking delay it a month or two and be like, it's not quite where we want it. Cloud's a new thing. We're going to release it in a little while. But they didn't. They let it come out. Well, after Stadia did that, then it was kind of up to the devs for themselves to save face to get busy, right? Like, okay, our game's on Stadia now. They allowed it. We knew it was in this condition. Now we need to do something. So the blame does fall on both Stadia first for allowing it, and then the devs now for it being how many months since Outriders, and it's still a mess on that platform. So I don't know. Just A lot of blame going around on some of these games, but it's a shame to see that kind of thing happen. What is the best cloud gaming app?
Oh, you love this question.
App. Well, if you're if you're on PC and you're looking at apps in general and not browser play, it would have to be like GeForce Now. If you're talking about also being able to play in web apps or browsers, that opens you up to Xcloud and Stadia, GeForce Now, Luna, and all that as well. So for me right now on cloud, I'm loving Xcloud a lot because I am a bit of an Xbox fan. But right there with it is Stadia and GeForce Now.
And it depends on the library and where you're currently gaming at.
I have to say, you need to go see what games they have because nobody has every game. Cloud is very hit and miss with the libraries, even Xbox. Everybody's hit and miss with the libraries right now. Yeah. So you need to go look at what games are available. And Stadia you can try for free. GeForce Now you can try for free. For Xcloud Ultimate, you can pay $1 and get 3 months right now. So you could go try all of these out. For Luna, if you can get into the early access, you can try that out. But because it's early access beta, I'm kind of not bringing it up right now. But for $1 for 3 months of Xcloud, or for free for Stadia, or GFN for free, there's 83 free games on GFN you can try. Stadia has Destiny 2 and a couple other free games you could try. No money out of pocket. And Xcloud, once you pay that $1, you can get in and start playing games there too. So check out what games they have, see what works best for you, because I could literally go to Jojo Narok's house right now, and these cloud gaming services could work differently there than they do at my house. So it's just that finicky. You really want to go test them all out. Stadia is still missing the really big hitters. No GTA 5, Warzone, Fortnite, Among Us, or Apex Legends. They really need to grab these games.
Man. The free-to-plays, they should try to get those free-to-plays like Warzone, Fortnite, Apex,
Yeah.
I've said
GFN kind of rules the free-to-play right now, but even they don't have Warzone because Acclaim's they're not allowing duty right now at all in cloud or any of that. But most free-to-plays, GFN is where it's at. If you want a ton of free-to-play games, there's a ton of them in GFN, 83 or 84 right now. But yeah, Warzone is a big one. And if Stadia got Warzone, Fortnite, there's so many big games that Stadia could get that aren't AAA. Forget Resident Evil, forget Cyberpunk. I don't believe those games bring in enough players. I think it's good to support the community. But games like Warzone and Fortnite and Apex Legends and Among Us and all that, if you could go to Stadia and have their free 1080p version and go play these free-to-play games too, the amount of just buzz and players they would get all of a sudden jumping on there, it would be really exciting because it would really be like the gas that Stadia needs. I wonder if they're working on anything like that.
That would be nice. I've always said that, if Stadia took and got paired up with one of let's say they took that $10 million for Resident Evil and partnered up with Warzone and said, hey, make an exclusive map for Stadia and put your game on our platform. We'll give you this. And they were able to make that deal happen. You know how many streamers would come running for that exclusive map on Warzone, a game they already play all the time?
Dude, it would take something so small in one of these hugely popular free-to-plays that Stadia could do that would bring the buzz and bring the eyes. And I have been saying it. Fortnite's not for me, but it needs to come. Apex I've kind of grown out of. I'm kind of away from it, but it needs to come. Spellbreak there's so many games to bring over. Among Us, Super Animal Royale is getting popular right now. Fall Guys would have been a great one back when it came out. There's tons of cool games they could bring that would bring the players way more than a lot of these million upon million dollar games. Why can Stadia let you play the game you own? Because Stadia is basically a console business model. When you buy a game, you're buying it just as if you were buying a digital version of a game on your Xbox. It's really no different, except you're playing it in the cloud instead of on a console. You are buying the rights to play that game. Remember, anytime we buy anything digitally, just like my Xbox 360 days where there's games I can no longer play, you could always lose the right to play those. But it's the same thing as buying your game digitally anywhere else, without paying money for the games that you own. Oh, so if you're on the free Stadia plan, 1080p is your cap on your resolution, if this is what you're talking about, and you can buy any game on Stadia you want, and play it that way, because they're not looking for revenue off of the pro as much as they are the sale of the games. But I think they need to switch it up. I think Stadia would do better with more of a subscription. Yeah, Stadia is really lacking with free to play stages. Where yeah, it's they need it. They need some free to play. They need some marketing, and they need some events. Shoot, Fortnite does events inside the freaking game,
Hmm.
concerts. AMD launched a
They actually
GPU
they
in
all
there.
do now. They all, that's caught on pretty much everywhere.
Have a Stadia event inside Fortnite and launch the game on there. Woo, that would be cool.
Yeah, and I
That
mean
would be
they
really
could do
cool.
something like give away a previous gen like Chrome TV
Yeah,
Chrome
man, they
type
got the
thing, you know?
CCU still that they're giving out, because we got the new Google TV and stuff like that going on. But man, cloud, I expected to talk about cloud for 30 minutes, and we have been an hour on cloud. When I thought that the consoles were actually going to take up most of our conversation, we actually
It
really dove
just
into
you know what
it's
it
so
just it
interesting.
deserved it though because it's been such a big week for cloud. You know,
It
like
has, man. It
it
really has.
absolutely deserved to take a little bit of showcase there. You know, I don't think that there's any complaints coming from the news across any of the platforms from the players of those respective platforms. There's no complaints coming from those gamers this week.
Oh no. No, not at all, man. If you're on cloud, if you're on console, a PC, I mean, really since E3 all the way up to now, it's just been constant good news, to be honest. So, I think we're gonna get ready to wrap it though, because again, nowhere near our hour. We're at an hour and a half. It was a ton of fun talking about cloud,
We
like you said. It
somehow
really
covered
did.
E3 in shorter
It did.
podcast.
We did. We covered all of E3. Actually, I felt like this was more exciting than E3. And some of it. I mean, we had big events, but just some of the cool little things like this that happen, especially with like cloud and tech, it gets exciting.
It's just E3, there was so much, you couldn't really actually crack
It was
into anything.
overwhelming.
And that's one thing that we like to do is we like to kind of peel back and actually peel a few layers back to kind of dig into it, you know, and
Yeah.
talk about some of the things that's going on and, you know, see what other people are thinking about it too, because it's being a gamer like is being a part of a community. Like you automatically enter into a community and gamers talking with gamers and, you know, discussing things, it's just an awesome thing.
Oh, more than ever, man. More than ever, the gaming community. And as we start to wrap up here, and I'm going to give you a chance to plug, I just want to say, to your point about the gaming community, remember, I know a lot of you get really, really strict about your console or who you're rooting for. But just remember, as a gamer in general, you're part of a huge, almost 3 billion person large community out here in the world, almost half the planet games. It's game anywhere, game everywhere, game every day. It doesn't matter. Enjoy your platform. Try not to hate on others or hate on what they're enjoying, because gaming is just meant to be fun for everybody, no matter where you're playing at. So try to remember that when you get all crazy out on Twitter and you start hating Xbox people or hating PlayStation people or hating Stadia. Honestly, it's also freaking cool. So man, what are you streaming again soon? What do you got going on? I know you'll be
All
on
right.
Twitch.
So, Joe Narak on Twitch, also on Twitter. 4th of July weekend coming up, so you know I'm looking at possibly like a Friday stream this week coming
Cool.
up. I'm actually gearing a lot of my content toward Dark Souls because right now I am just super duper excited for Elden Ring.
Elden
And
Ring.
I am just like a lot, like pretty much all my streams are going to be Dark Souls 2, 1, 3, and Demon Souls. Is what you're going to see out of that stream, along with some, you know, just any kind of conversation. Also keep an open mind because I do have a couple kids in my stream who seem to think a little older than they should, I'll
Think
say.
older. Oh yeah, man. You might be talking about some dudes from my Discord who
That's exactly who I'm talking about.
you think they're one age, but they ain't.
But
So
yeah, just a lot of Dark Souls right now. Yeah, Maker of Chaos. There's a lot of hype around that game. I can't wait to see it.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
other than that, I play a lot of games off stream. I might start actually just incorporating some of my casual game time into streams too, just to see how it goes. But yeah, that's where you find me at Twitch, Twitter, and also you can find me roaming around the Game Tech planet. Discord.
Exactly. And I will link up stuff in the description. I sucked at that on the last one, but I got them all this time. So we'll be getting all those links in there for everybody, so you can check out Jojo and the Rock. You guys know me, Game Tech Planet, or GTP, or Game Tech, or Jerry, or whatever you want to call me. I'll be on the YouTube channel. I've got some videos coming out, really getting into a little bit of testing with the Google TV and the Shield TV since Stadia hit those. Going to do some comparisons and stuff like that, and some other things we're working on for this week for the content as well. So really appreciate everybody stopping by, chatting, commenting, getting involved. Maker Chaos, really appreciate all the involvement in the chat.
Thanks for hanging out, man. And everybody
Thanks
else.
for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. And we'll catch you next time. We'll tweet out if we're going to go next Sunday night, but being 4th of July, we're probably going to be 2 weeks out. So, all right, guys, thanks a lot for coming to check it out. Catch you guys in the next one.